frustrated that your affirmations aren't manifesting results? Are you struggling to bridge the gap between your dreams and your reality? It's time to go beyond wishful thinking and step into your divine creative power. Join us for this episode of Hacking the Infinity Matrix. We're going to be revealing a 5-step formula to manifest through bold declarations instead of empty affirmations. This live stream will uncover the quantum mindset shift that unlocks instant manifestation and teaches you how to tap into the energy of your desire as if it's already here. You'll learn to transform affirmations into powerful declarations that shape destiny, infuse words with magnetic energy, and speak to acknowledge rather than to create. We'll talk about what the difference is in a bit. And this is not another Think and Grow Rich rehash. It's not what this is. It's going to be a deep wisdom that reveals how to speak reality into being from the inside out. And, as we've been saying for at least 4 years on these weekly live streams, you possess a majestic ability to define your existence through conscious intentions. And 2024 is right around the corner. And don't you think it's time to claim your creative authority and develop a commanding presence that directs the quantum field? We think it's time. So that's why we brought you this. In fact, it's probably long overdue for many of you. So make today the day that you apply these Infinity Matrix hacks, and you'll feel an energetic shift as your words become endowed with attraction power. And if you're ready to move beyond lackluster affirmations and start declaring your reality into form, this live stream will liberate you as the author of your life.
That's right. That's so cool. And I'm telling you, I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad about this topic that we're doing because, as Gary said, it is long overdue. And so we want to thank everybody for joining us today. And as you come into the stream, please go ahead and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. We've got such a global community here, and we want to know where you're from. So what country, what city, what state, whatever the case may be. You can even put in a little emoji, an Eiffel Tower or the Space Needle, whatever you want to do. So in today's stream, this is episode 120. And we're going to open your mind to understanding why affirmations won't lead to the abundance that you desire. We'll explain how this flawed system creates more frustration and can lead you deeper into a false state of reassurance and security. We're going to talk about why affirmations don't work to manifest your desires and what you can do so that you can have more success through the use of them or other techniques. And if you choose to continue with them, well, we'll see what happens after we're done. So you're going to want to stick around also to explore what could completely open the portals of reality and expand your ability to become unstoppable. So if this is your first time, please type in the comments, #first-time. And what that does is we'll go back, Gary and I, we go back and review all the comments. And then we can actually give you our own virtual personal welcome. It also allows other members of the group to say, hey, how's it going? Or nice to see you again. So that would be great. And also, if you're excited about this, type in #affirmations. And that's if you're catching the replay, we like a #replay again, so we can come back in and welcome you. In case many of you don't realize it, we also have 2 private Facebook groups for those of you who are serious about truly mastering the skills of creating empowered realities, both in business and in your life. Each of those communities right now, Gary, where are we at? We're like 9,000 with each group. I mean, they're just growing exponentially. And so we have one is called Expanding Beyond Business Mastery. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're in business, whether it be you're a CEO or mid-management, whatever the case may be, and such, that's going to be the place for you. And the other one is the evolving reality within the infinity matrix, and it's a little bit more esoteric than our business mastery class or page. And we'll drop the links into the comments so you can check them out. If you want, you can join them both. We'd love to have you everywhere so you can kind of get a grasp of the whole realm of what we have to offer. And there are entry questions with each of the groups. So please, there are 3 easy questions. So just answer and give us the information. Otherwise, the Facebook algorithm will just bump you out. So, but you're going to want to join one of them. Absolutely, for sure. And that's it. So let's get started.
So we got Shelly from Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which is awesome. Thanks for being here. We got Kelly. I don't know where you're from there, Kelly. Kelly says, I don't do hashtags. Okay, Kelly, then write the word without the hashtag. We're totally all right with that. It's just for it to pop up as something different for us when we see it, and it bolds it as well in the text. Yvonne is here, first time. Welcome, Yvonne. And everyone else. Remember, again, the more you interact with us on this, whenever possible, if you have questions or comments or ahas that pop up from you from what we're saying, please jot them in the comments, because the more you interact, the more you actually absorb and integrate this stuff, and we really want this to be something that you take away something of value from. All right. So many of us, and it was Kelly had said it right off, that have tried many years. I'm assuming she was talking about affirmations, and this is not happening. Yeah, and it's because many of us at one point or another in our personal development, spiritual growth journey have turned to affirmations in hopes of manifesting what we wanted, right? Whether it's financial abundance, loving relationships, vibrant health, whatever it was. We started our day looking in the mirror and repeating affirmations like, I am wealthy, or I am in the perfect relationship, or like Stuart Smalley on the old Saturday Night Live skit, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Right, that's very true. That's very true.
Something has gone mainstream when Saturday Night Live has a whole skit on it, right? So, and actually, let's have a little fun. Let's go ahead and drop your favorite affirmation in the comments right now. Maybe it's one you've used in the past, or one you have as a post-it note on your fridge or bathroom mirror or on your computer screen right now. Go ahead and let's see all the amazing affirmations that you are all putting out into the universe. Okay, because we're not saying that the affirmations are bad in a sense. We're just saying there's a time and a place for them, and a way that you can utilize them, and the way they're commonly taught, they're not going to get the outcome or the result that you want. But it is good to at least get in that mindset and thinking that there's other ways to claim a reality. So I feel tired, but it's still not working. Yeah, well, I get it, Kelly. I completely get it. I even tried feeling it, but it's still not working. Yeah. So again, we'll talk about the distinction of that, because even just trying to feel it and not working, it's where you're coming from, right? So there's a slightly difference to it that hopefully we'll be able to distinguish for you today. I totally get that. And so I am financially abundant. I am that healing energy. I am that. I am. Okay, good. So, we've all got some version of that we have, or that we're using, or have used and have gotten frustrations around, right? We adopted the idea of affirmations because we were taught that affirming what we want will help to attract it into our lives, right? And while it's better than affirming what you don't want, right? I know that that's what I was told in books and seminars and from courses that I took when I was young. In fact, I've often mentioned on these trainings, whether it's the live stream or the 5-day events or the master classes, I've often mentioned that that I've done more affirmations than any one individual should ever have to do in a lifetime. Okay. Okay. And that was just in the first 35 years of my life. Right? So, how many of you had this experience that I had over and over again? I was frustrated with some aspect of my life, but I knew it could be better, right? Or I hoped it could be. And I did some inner reflection. I decided all I needed to do was find the right affirmation and my life would turn around. So I journaled, I meditated, I did self-hypnosis, I did audio hypnosis, I did subliminals, I did it all. Okay. And when I was I did it when I was awake. I even found ways to do it in my sleep. Okay. And after months or even sometimes even years of daily affirmations, my reality hadn't changed in the ways that I had hoped. Right? Kelly's laughing because you read you get it, right? You so I don't have to, so anyone can relate, anyone else can relate. And I know you don't do hashtags, Kelly, but give me I know that's right. Hashtag I know that's right in the comments if you can relate. Right. And so I finally got fed up and I started to look deeper into why it wasn't working for me and for those in my life who I witnessed going through the same or similar type experiences. And what I came to realize was that the key problem with affirmations as they've been taught is that they tend to come from a place of feeling lack, right? It's the energy of not having. And so it's not just about feeling the emotion, it's the difference of the feeling lack that it stems from. Okay. And I thought it was just me at first, but through my hypnotherapy practice and almost 20,000 one-on-one client sessions, I can say it seems to be the majority. Okay. The very act of repeating, I am abundant, implies you feel scarcity, a scarcity of abundance right now. And that's where you're starting from. And that's the problem. Okay, one of the problems. Sometimes it's the wording as well. Sometimes there's a variety of variables, and we can't go through all of them today, but we're going to give you a very core key component. Okay, so the phrase "I am wealthy" contains the vibrational essence of not having wealth at this moment. So you see how you start off at the core, it's tainted, and then you say something on top of it to try to change that. And that's why it's not working. All right. It's like when we're engaged in a new, it's like we were engaged in a new personalized trade called Affirmasonry. Okay. That's my own word. I made it up. Affirmasonry.
Yes, you did.
Where we were attempting to build a bridge over our feelings of lack, hoping that pretending it will make it real and pave the path to a brighter pastures. Okay. And as Ross and I have been diligently working on hacking the infinite matrix over the last 13, almost 14 years now, we've come to realize that manifesting doesn't work that way. Okay. It happens through tuning your energy into what you want to experience as your reality first, and moving from affirmations into wholeheartedly declaring your reality into being. And there's a major difference. Okay, think about it. If you felt truly abundant already, right, would you need to affirm it repeatedly? No. Because anything you mentioned about abundance, if you did, you'd be immersed in the feeling state of abundance. If you authentically knew you were healthy, you wouldn't keep looking in the mirror, insisting on it from a place of neediness. It would be more of a confirmation or declaration instead, right? You confirming it, you're declaring it. And the more you confirm, the more you declare it, the more that reality unfolds and builds and grows into what you experience. Because you're coming from a place of already having instead of a place of not having. Okay, so the missing lesson was that was either not taught, or I wasn't tuned into the frequency necessary to hear and truly get it, right? And maybe some of you have been there, right? Maybe some of you, maybe this is you're at the frequency now where you're ready to hear it and get it in a way you haven't before. Okay, and hopefully we can do that for you. Okay, and so the missing lesson was that becoming abundant, wealthy, healthy, or loved had to happen on the inside first. Okay, and at first I struggled with this. How can I become wealthy, healthy, or loved on the inside when everything on the outside was telling me otherwise? Right? Some of you guys are probably saying that to yourself right now. Okay. Then we cracked the code. Okay. It was a matter of feeling gratitude for what you have instead of fixating on what you lack. So the practice was to imagine the reality you prefer as vividly as possible until it feels tangible. And now this takes work, it takes practice, right? Because you have to get out of the old ways of thinking about your imagination and old belief systems about what's imagined and what's real and what's not. You have to kind of go over some of that. Or connect with some kind of internal truth that is already in alignment with the reality you prefer. When you do that, then the outer matrix reality, right? So we talk about the internal matrix, what's going on in here, and the external matrix, what's going on out there, right? And you being the source of both of those. So when you do that internally, then the outer matrix reality seems to follow without effort. So affirmations often fail because they start from separation instead of unity, from incomplete instead of wholeness. Okay, they try to use thought force, right? So they're using thought force to produce results instead of allowing our being, our beingness, to attract and resonate at the frequency where they already exist. Okay, we come from a place of it being a bioenergetic frequency. Yeah, similar. Yes, absolutely. You got it, right? So we come from a place of this is an infinite matrix, right? So there's infinity, anything and everything that could possibly exist, and in any time frame, in any reality frame, in any dimension, it exists. It's just a matter of what you're tuning into and tapping into in any given moment to experience as your version of reality. Right? So once you genuinely embody the essence of what you want, affirming it becomes irrelevant. And what you end up with is declarations of reality instead. So for most people, when you use affirmations, you're trying to make something happen, right? And this is the thought force that I was talking about. You are actually implying that it hasn't happened yet. And when you do that, you come from the state of lack, desperately hoping your words can bridge that gap between your current unsatisfactory reality and what you wanted instead, right? It just creates that chasm. Okay, so can you see how this affirms separation, right? Can you see that? And as a result, cementing the belief that what you desire doesn't exist here and now already. So what it does is it shines light on your core beliefs, which is a whole other topic, which we'll get into in another live stream. Okay, so it shines light on your core beliefs, and your core beliefs are what shape your reality. Okay, I hear you there, Kelly. We'll talk again. There's sometimes some distinctions because the gratitude and love you try to, and I get that, but there's some distinctions that'll make a difference here. Okay, even just the distinction for some people, just distinction of changing it from an affirmation to, hey, no, I'm declaring my reality, because there's an ownership, there's a congruence to that that's so much more powerful than I'm affirming this to happen. right? Even if you just verbally say, I declare this is true, as opposed to I affirm this is true. Say those two and energetically you'll feel the difference. And that slight shift might be that one thing that makes the difference for you, right? Again, another thing is, how much other, I mean, there's so many variables to this. The other thing is how many other things are counter interacting with that are destroying or putting disbelief on, like throughout the day, right? So if you do your affirmations for a small window of time, how often, how frequent is it more dominant than the lack thoughts that are going on, right? So there's all those variables, right? So instead of saying I will be abundant from a place of lack, you can say I am abundant now as a declaration from a place of actually feeling abundance. Okay, in the infinity process, we teach is the way we teach it is different. Is that the focus is more about experiencing your desires as already complete in this present moment. And yes, sometimes you have to make that quantum leap from wanting to already having, from affirming to declaring. And that's when you go from I will be abundant from a place of lack to saying I am abundant now from a place of actually feeling congruently and confidently. So there's a belief behind it, right? Being passionate about your intentions absolutely is a part. I agree with you, Kelly. I think it is sometimes hard to do if you don't know how to do it, and if you don't have the right support mechanisms, and if you don't have the right tools in place to kind of keep you on track, because all the other stuff that we grew up with or were told is easy to kind of get us off track with that stuff. So I 100% agree with you on that. But hard to do doesn't mean impossible to do, right? Hard to do just means I don't know how yet. I haven't found the strategy for me yet, right? And when you go from a place of feeling abundance, there's a variety of ways to assume or cultivate that feeling without having to see. Number one, one of our previous lessons, we may have to bring it back again, another version of it, but we talk about there's different forms of abundance, right? So if you're locked into one form, one definition of it, and that's the one that's not showing up in your reality, where you're ignoring all the other forms of, there's an infinite number of other forms of abundance that you could tap into to get that feeling of truly feeling abundant, right? And so you tap into the vibrational essence of already having what you want, and then you can immerse yourself in that feeling until it becomes your dominant state. That's another variable. It has to be your dominant state. If you're slipping back more into the lack or the limitations or the failures, if you're slipping back into that and you have to work your way back out and then slip back, work your way back out, then the universe, the infinity matrix is confused because there's a party that's doing this and a party that's doing that. So it's kind of like, well, the one that's most dominant is the one that's going to win out. And that's the reality you end up with. And you may get glimpses of the one you prefer because you have these peaks and it's up and down, but the one that's most consistent and congruent is the one that will show up in your reality. And that stems from your core beliefs that are established around those particular things, right? So you can cultivate gratitude for current blessings, right? And you can imagine possessing the things you desire so vividly that your senses are immersed in its realness. Right? You've heard speakers say it, but it's scientifically proven that the brain does not know the difference between something that's vividly imagined and what's actually real. Okay? It's scientifically proven. So the key is to find ways into this space beyond lack and craving and allow ourselves to be quantum resonators, intentionally matching the frequency of the reality you prefer most. And when your state of being aligns in this way, space, time, energy, and matter can't help but to present an external reality to match. Okay? And this is the difference between forcing reality through thought manipulation, affirmations, versus collaborating with reality through infinite resonance. Affirmations may nudge the nature of reality from time to time, but your state of being speaks its language. So you got to ask, what's the state of being that I am right now? So in most cases, we do affirmations because we believe they would bridge that gap between our current reality and our desired reality, right? But instead, they kept your focus on lack and the distance between where you are now and where you want to be. And when someone has an affirmation, I am in a loving relationship while they're single, well, guess what? It draws attention to not having that relationship yet. And then the affirmation actually becomes a constant reminder of what you don't have. So in contrast, imagine if you felt genuine appreciation and gratitude now for the relationship, health, and wealth you desire. If you fully considered what it would be like if you already inhabited that reality in this moment. If you think about that, what would be in your environment? Right? Just those two questions. Imagine, right? If you felt genuine appreciation, gratitude for whatever it's relationship, health, wealth, whatever it is you desire, if you felt that right now and you had ways to do that, not the actual having of the thing, it's the feeling that it gives you that you want to get, right? And if you fully having that and then fully considered what it would be like if you already inhabited that reality in this moment, what would be in your environment? What behaviors would you be acting out? What kind of skills and resources would you tap into? What would you believe about yourself and your reality? And most importantly, who would you be showing up and embodying and embracing this moment? Tune into that and then do your declarations. Because then you're declaring it as real, as true, as now. And that's where the magic happens naturally, right? So remember, affirmations nudge the nature of reality from time to time. But your state of being speaks its language. Okay, so how the heck do you create these states of fulfillment internally when all the external references say something else, right? Right? Some of you are saying that. So the key is cultivating gratitude for the blessings you already have, however small. Right? And Ross is going to talk about that a little later too. And so when you feel deeply thankful for the riches, the love, the joy already present in your life, in whatever ways or shape, form they're showing up, then you resonate the positive energy of fulfillment. Right? So think of something right now, something in your life right now that brings you joy. Perhaps it's a supportive friend, the love of a pet, or something that's as simple as a vibrant plant. Whatever it is, focus and put your attention on the appreciation you have for these blessings and feel how they contribute to the beauty of your everyday life. And from this place of noticing what you already have, you can congruently and internally declare a reality of fulfillment and abundance. Then the infinity matrix mirrors it back more of that goodness. The energy and the vibration of true gratitude attracts more to be grateful for, just like the energy and vibration of ungratefulness attracts more things to be ungrateful for. Right? The thing about the infinite matrix is it's not judgmental. It's whatever you put out, it's going to say, sure, here you go. Right? It's unconditionally there to serve you the way you need it to be served. Okay. And so the secret is to sustain these feelings of fulfillment as much as possible in your daily life. Right? And as we teach in the infinity process, to code into your matrix, your external and your internal matrix, these things that are constantly feeding you these feelings of fulfillment. So you cultivate the inner abundance, and the outer abundance grows as a reality reflection. And the more you do this, the more you won't need to force things to appear. They just seem to be drawn into your energy. So drop the need for affirmations. I'm going to say drop the need for affirmation. Anytime someone says that right now, that's not what you're choosing to do. You turn it into, okay, how do I make that a declaration of my reality? Stop trying to manifest something and start being it. You are an infinite consciousness, declaring this by allowing yourself to feel it deeply and truly. You're an infinite consciousness. Think about that. We say it all the time. You're greater than you think you are, no matter how great you think you are. Right? So embrace your infinity matrix and everything that is in alignment with the evolution of yourself. And self, our acronym for self is SELF, spiritually evolving life force. Right? And everything that's in alignment with that spiritually evolving life force will show up when it needs to. All right. So here's a 5-step infinity matrix hack to transform affirmations into powerful declarations for your reality. Number 1, get clear on what you desire. Okay, that's the first thing. Get clear on what it is you want. And you hear this all the time. This is not new, right? The difference is the distinction how we're doing the affirmations and the declaration. But you need to be clear. So reflect on exactly what you want to manifest and get specific and concrete as you feel you need to. Okay? And the number 2 is feel as if it's already yours. So feel it as already yours. You ownership of it. Tune into the feeling, the vibration of already having what you desire in this moment. Feel it energetically first. And again, if we're talking about money, we're not talking feeling as if you have the money. It's what's the feeling that money gives you? Is it freedom? Well, you can feel freedom. Get that feeling. Start from that place of already having that. Then you step into number 3, which is declare from a place of fulfillment. Right? State declarations from the energy of step 2, which is feeling. That's from the place. So instead of I will have, say I have or I am as a declaration of the reality you're in. All right. And then step 4 is to speak to experience, not to create. So speak to experience it, not to create it. Because when you're not speaking to create it, you're coming from a place of lack, right? So you're speaking to the experience of it. And the way you do it, use declarations to acknowledge what already exists in your reality instead of trying to make something happen. And then step 5 is to infuse with feeling. Express your declarations with the full spectrum of emotions that are associated with having the desired result you want. Feel it vividly. So if you're saying the declaration and you're saying, I am abundant, after you've done all, well, the energy of how you infuse that feeling and how you express that declaration is not congruent. It doesn't mean you have to be loud and boisterous like myself, right? Because that's my, like I have that energy that comes up when I speak about these things and I'm passionate about it. You have your own expression of it, but it needs to be congruent for you. Right? So an example declaration using this process is, I desire to thrive. If you're like, let's say someone here is in the coaching business, right? So you can say, I desire a thriving coaching business that fulfills me. And you've already tapped into the thriving component and the fulfillment and the coaching business. You've already tapped into that of knowing that that's something that's there. And then you say, I feel fulfilled now by meaningful work. And you get that feeling. And that's where you're stepping from that place. right? And you say, I have a thriving coaching business that is deeply fulfilling, and you're giving it the emotion, right? And then you declared, I acknowledge this business is manifesting what I want, right? And I feel excited and joyful sharing my purpose with the world. And you do that, you're declaring rather than from a place of wanting. You're declaring into manifesting rather than to create. You're infusing words with the feeling, the tone of having your desire as a reality now. And when you speak from this energetic space, you state what is, not what you wish it would be. Your declarations are just a confirmation of your reality instead of trying to produce it. And this allows manifestations in the infinity matrix to unfold naturally.
All right. So, we decided on this topic because it seems that a lot of people are doing affirmations, a lot more affirmations these days. Things are kind of getting tough and people are kind of getting worried and such. And they're doing those affirmations from a place of worry, a place of despair, and a place of lack, as Gary was saying. And we get tons of questions about, about our take on affirmations, which, that's why we decided to do this, is because we have a different view of this. So one of the questions is how come certain affirmations don't work? Or how come I have trouble accessing or having success with affirmations? Or how come I'm not having success with affirmations in a particular subject or topic of my life? So, and we hear it all the time. You do your affirmations for, an hour a day. It's kind of like a ritual, but our question is, well, what about the other 23 hours of the day? When life gets in the way, when the rubber hits the road. So here's why you may be having some difficulty. So affirmations are just a simple, relatively antiquated technique. And these techniques are intended to manifest for us. So we expect the affirmation to do the work. But so said in another way, many expect to just sit on the couch, say affirmations, and it'll just happen. Well, here's the deal. What actually manifests for us in our state of being is, so long as you have coherence, and somebody mentioned this in the chat, as long as you have coherence between your outer matrix, the affirmation, and your inner matrix, your true core beliefs. So you manifest what you really are and what you truly believe. You manifest what you really are and what you truly believe. So where many, if not most, are doing an affirmation, but you're not changing your internal self, this spiritually evolving life force, as Gary said. You're going to, if you're not changing that self, you're going to continue to manifest a reality that reflects your current self. They're going to reflect it right back to you. So what this means is that if you're primarily identifying with being poor, and I'm going to use this just as an example because it's the most popular. So being poor, not being well off, nor comfortable financially, then that's actually part of your internal image and your core beliefs. And yes, you're correct. Those of you have figured it out now. Some people have been putting it in the chat. It's not about what you want. It's not about what you want. It's actually about you. If you feel like you're desolate and unworthy or always broke or just getting by, if this is the belief you have of yourself, well, then that's what you get. Simple as that. So what we have said again and again, the infinity matrix doesn't know what money is. It doesn't know what mansions are. It doesn't know what yachts are or bank accounts. or good health. It only understands the frequency and the energy that you have towards these. And yet you're externally saying affirmations like, I'm a money magnet, I attract wealth, while your subconscious is thinking, yeah, right, that's just a lie. And it actually sends out, broke, 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 I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. And I'm sure a few of you just called me a couple names, but that's fine. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But this is how it is. This is why your affirmations are not working. There's a disconnect. So the matrix is designed to reflect frequency and energy. So it's not likely you're going to get ongoing, consistent results of any new reality unless the internal frequency is changed, it's altered or modified. You see, you have the information of what you want to manifest in your life. It's information. But until you learn to transmute your information into the correct frequency and energy, it isn't what manifests at the point of the affirmation, nor at the point of the visualization, nor at any other manifesting techniques that you do. The point of any technique is to change who you are and put you in contact with the new concept of you. The new you who feels like he or she already has the desire, the frequency, the energy. That's the point of what an affirmation should do, but rarely does. Because we think, we're told, we learn that just by saying words, we'll do it. And this is so far from the truth. So many of you, I'm sure, knows who Louise Hayes is. Of Hay House. She was a huge advocate of affirmations. And she said it like this: sometimes people say affirmations don't work. I've done it. And when they're doing prosperity affirmations, and they've done some prosperity affirmations, and they say it doesn't work, nothing's happening. And I say, well, all right, how many prosperity affirmations did you do in a day? And they'll say 3. And then I say, all right, how many poverty affirmations did you say in this day? And that could be somewhere around 300, depending on where you're coming from and what thoughts are running through your mind. So what I say now is that, I have great admiration for her work. But here's where I think there's a disconnect: the non-coherence of internal versus external, and how to better meld them together. Michael Jordan said, what's important is to recognize the key difference between positive thinking and wishful thinking. Affirmations aren't about wishing away your problems or denying the realities of these problems. It's choosing to believe that the problems we will face will not destroy us, and that every problem can be solved if we're willing to work hard at finding solutions. We did a live stream, I think in our first year. So, oh my gosh, it's like 4 years ago. And it's called The Formula, and where we go into this really deep. So if you can go to YouTube, type in Infinity Matrix, The Formula, you'll find it. I'll actually try to put the link in the comments after the show. So if an affirmation isn't changing, you are not going to change your reality. That's a fact. If you are doing affirmations but not reinforcing them with action, then they're just wishful thinking. So it's important to understand this, but affirmations are not the thing that manifests. They're just not. And your association with yourself and what you are and who you are and what's in your life and how people treat you and how people see you and how people feel about you. That's your belief system. Your association with those beliefs. And all of those things is what creates the actual reality that's out there. So if you feel like an affirmation practice isn't working, well, here's one thing that you can do. This is very, very simple. Stop doing it. Just stop. But then step back and pause. And then define what your desires are. Eliminate the vagueness. Some of you have already put that in the comments. I don't know what it is that I want. You need to know what you want. I want to be wealthy. Oh, great. What does wealthy mean to you? It depends on where you are. Depends on your life. To some people, wealthy is, I want to earn $1 million a year. To other people, wealthy is, I want to earn $100 a year. You see the difference? You see the difference when we're talking, when you're trying to communicate to something that doesn't know what money is. It only knows the energy of money. I want to be healthier. Great. What does that mean? Be specific, define them, refine the details. What does it feel like? What is it? What's the, how, can I touch it? Can I taste it? Can it, what does it sound like? Refine all of that. What, if we're going to still talk about wealth, what is wealth? What does it feel like? Can I touch it? Maybe, kind of. Can I taste it? Well, maybe, yeah, kind of. What does it sound like? Refine the details. And then look for areas of non-coherence. In other words, do you really believe in those details? Or did that voice in the back of your head just go, oh, we can't do that. No, that's not us. That won't work. You're not worthy. You can't do that. And then what we've done in our 5-day training, we say, okay, now that voice that's in the back of your head, we want you to put a voice, we want to put a face to that voice. Who's telling you that? Who told you that at one time or another? That you're not worthy. That this won't work. We call those sentinels. So once we have those worked out, then you want to start, as Gary said, feel the desires as if. How would it feel as if I'm 5 years from now? How am I going to feel? And when I use the word feel, that is frequency, that's energy. That's what the matrix reads. It reads that. And the only way you can create that is to feel it, really believe it. What's it gonna feel like? How excited am I going to be? What's this going to do for my family, my friends? What's life going to be like? What's it going to feel like? Oh my gosh. What's it going to be like when when I take my, my trip to Italy and I'm staying in a nice villa and I'm sipping a cup of Italian espresso. What does that feel like? What does it taste like? How does the ocean breeze feel on my face? Is my espresso is it the right temperature that I want? The temperature of the air, the day that I'm sitting there, the sun on my face. Is it the right temperature for me? What does that feel like? How does it feel to be able to be sitting there and just not have a care in the world? Then, once you have all of this, you declare them. You declare them into existence. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I will be. This is what I will do to take care of it, to make this happen. You declare it. This is who I am. These are the pieces that you're probably missing. And then when that happens, and when you start to see these little things starting to happen, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you see a billboard that you've never seen before about a trip to Italy, or you see, somebody's talking about, this cup of coffee that they had, and all of a sudden you're like, well, man, I was just thinking about all these things. And now I'm seeing all these little pieces that are starting to kind of come together. All these little synchronicities are starting to come together. And I'm just like, I love this. This is so cool. I'm celebrating this. And when we celebrate things, what are we doing? We're releasing energy. We're releasing frequency. And we're saying, universe, you're on the right track. And I see it. And I appreciate it. And I'm grateful for it. Keep it coming. That's how it works. So there's a practice that the Hopi Indians have. And I took this excerpt from I think it was from Greg Braden. He had done a video about this, and I just absolutely loved it. And so he goes, so they were in the desert, and the area where they were at was experiencing a tremendous drought, very, very bad. And so he got together with a friend who is a Hopi Indian. And so it goes like this. He goes, today, David, the Indian, he says, today we will touch the unseen forces of this world. Speaking to Mother Earth and Father Sky and the messengers of the in-between. Today, David said, we pray rain. The stone circle is a medicine wheel, David explained. It has been here for as long as many of my people can remember. The wheel itself has no power. It serves as a place of focus for the one invoking the prayer. You could think of it as a roadmap, a map between humans and the forces of this world. And he replied to the question that I had not yet asked. The map was created here in this place, because here the skins between the worlds are very thin. From the time I was a young boy, I was taught the language of this map. Today, I will travel an ancient path that leads to other worlds. And from those worlds, I will speak with the forces of this earth to do what we came here to do, to invite the rain. I watched as David removed his shoes. Even the way that he untied the laces of his tattered work boots was was as a prayer, as methodical and intentional and sacred. With his feet bare to the earth, he turned his back and walked away from me toward the circle. Without a sound, he navigated his way around the wheel, taking great care to honor the placement of each stone. With reverence for his ancestors, he placed his naked feet onto the parched earth. with each step. His toes came within fractions of an inch of the outer stones. Never once did he touch them. Each stone remained precisely where the hands of another had placed it from a generation long departed. As he rounded the farthest rim of the circle, David turned, allowing me to see his face. To my amazement, his eyes were closed. They had been closed the entire time. One by one, he was honoring the placement of each round white stone by feeling the position of his feet. As David returned to the position closest to me, he stopped, straightened his posture, and moved his hands into a praying position in front of his face. His breathing became nearly indiscernible. He appeared oblivious to the heat of the midday sun. And after a few brief moments in this position, he took a deep breath, relaxed his posture, and turned to me. "Let's go. Our work is finished here," he said, looking directly at me. "Already?" I asked, a little surprised. It seemed as though we had just arrived. "I thought you were going to pray for rain." "Oh, no. Oh, no." I said that I would pray rain, he replied. If I had prayed for rain, it could never happen. And that afternoon, the weather changed and the rain began suddenly, with a few splats on the deck, facing the mountains to the east, and with moments the droplets grew larger and more frequency until a full-fledged thunderstorm was underway. Huge black clouds hovered over the valley, obscuring the Colorado mountains with the north to the north from the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. The water accumulated faster than the earth could absorb it, and before long, local fears of flooding became a reality. It's a true story. So this is how you want to create a whole new reality with events and circumstances. You want to create a whole new reality with money, where it's not just coming in and then leaving, but it's consistently in your reality. Your intention is that of manifesting to transform your reality. It's not just to get a little hits here and there, which are still wins, but you want effortless level results. So when Gary and I, we created one of our master classes. It's called Abundance, and it's very, very in depth. And we developed a process called the Abundance Breath. And again, it's not a matter of intentionally wanting anything specific. And we believe that that's the key. I don't want anything specific. I just want my body to resonate abundance. That's what David did. He resonated rain. He imagined, as he was I've gone further into this story, but he had imagined his feet, which were on dry, parched sand. Now his feet sinking into the sand because it's now become mud. Because the rain, he was imagining that he was in the rain. He invoked rain. He declared rain. Because if he would have said, "I'm praying for rain," what was he doing? He was saying, he was reflecting out, there is nothing. I'm coming from a place of lack. And that's what would have been received. But instead, he prayed rain.
Yeah, and he essentially eliminated the gap of not having to, it just be that gap of reality, right?
Exactly. So, do you want consistent progress? Because if you want any consistent thing, you need to become a consistent person. You constantly become the person who has the things you desire, the life that you desire. You can choose to change who you are. That's great. But better yet, the internal drivers, your routines, your habits, step into that future, as I said earlier, and look at what you did to become who you are. The Hopi version I described is a practice of going into the visualization and feeling and feeling feeling the real and conjuring from that state of being. When you achieve this state, you achieve this. Affirmations, they're going to start to feel flat and they're going to fall away as you now replace them with far more empowering declarations. But what you need to remember is that to really change your reality, really get consistent results, you must change who you are. Whatever manifesting technique that you use, the point of it is to change you. So before we go, we want to throw out a reminder about our incredibly successful virtual roundtable. It's if you haven't heard of it, it's really, really cool. It's a no-cost program, but it's a very unique place. Let's say it's a sanctuary for where a network of minds converge in a collaboration. And we're all heading there together. And even though it will be unique to each of us, in this space, there's no room for the typical noise of selling, no elevator pitches, and certainly no awkward self-promotion. It just turns people off. We figured that out a long time. But instead, this is a place where authenticity reigns supreme, where pure relationship building and collaboration take center stage. These joining in this space, you feel like an immediate sense of warmth and camaraderie. You greet and are greeted by purpose-driven entrepreneurs and thought leaders from diverse backgrounds across the planet. You're all gathered with a shared intention to connect, to learn, and to grow together. We always say the air starts to swell with this vibrance of energy, and we call it the energy of possibility and the excitement of collective wisdoms. So if you're interested in that, drop a hashtag. I know you don't like the hashtag. Some don't like hashtags, but drop a hashtag VRT. And what we'll do is we'll send you more information. This is by invitation only. So take a look at us. We'll take a look at you. And if everything is going to connect and there's some good energy and synergy there, we'll send you an RSVP link and you can fill out the form and join us on the next one. I think, Gary, the next one is coming up Tuesday.
They can check the RSVP link for that, for the coming dates.
So there's a couple of them that are already scheduled on there. They're going to be in the link. And until then, and until next time, we dare you to be exceptional. And the only way to do that is to implement what you learn and learn from what you implement. Be well, everyone.
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Yvonne, we just check for your DMs. Yvonne, I will DM you the link for the RSVP on that, and anybody else that types of VRT, we will actually send you a DM through Messenger. So please keep an eye out for that. All right. Till next week. We'll see you guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take this time here. I'm going to ask you to just play along here with us just for a little bit. Okay. If possible, and if you're in a place where it's safe to do so, just close your eyes for a few moments and let us take you on an imagination where we transport you to a unique place. Let's say it's a sanctuary where minds converge in conscious collaboration. Imagine that. And we're all headed there together, even though it will be unique to each of us in this space. There's no room for the typical noise of selling, no elevator pitches, and certainly no awkward self-promotion that just turns people off. Okay? Instead, it's a space where authenticity reigns supreme, where pure relationship building and collaboration take center stage. So imagine joining in this space, feeling an immediate sense of warmth and camaraderie. You greet and you're greeted by purpose-driven entrepreneurs and thought leaders from diverse backgrounds, all gathered with a shared intention to connect, to learn, to grow together. And the air just swells with the vibrant energy of possibility and the excitement of collective wisdom.
Okay, so keeping your eyes closed, continue to imagine that. As you participate with the intention of service, you become part of engaging and deep conversations. Everyone is actively listening to one another with genuine interest. There are no ulterior motives or hidden agendas. Everyone is focused on understanding, empathizing, and learning from each other. It's a place where vulnerability is celebrated. For it's through vulnerability that true connection is forged. In this space, you are not just a name or a title. You are seen, you're heard, and valued for your unique perspective and contribution that goes beyond your business label. You feel a sense of belonging and empowerment, knowing that your voice matters and that your ideas have the potential to create positive change for those in the meeting with you. By you participating in this virtual environment, we are co-creating a sanctuary of conscious collaboration where the power of collective minds can be unleashed. It's a departure from the traditional business landscape where competition often has been valued and often overshadows collaboration. But here, we prioritize collaboration over competition, recognizing that by working together, we can achieve far more by working than working in isolation.
Yeah, and so we are imagining this transformative journey together. And in doing that, we can embrace a place where purpose-driven entrepreneurs and thought leaders converge, where authenticity and relationships are the currency, and where collaboration is the catalyst for remarkable achievements. Just imagine that. Now, go ahead and open your eyes, come back, and let's begin to build this reality together, right here, right now. And before we go into that and go towards that, here's what others are saying about this type of collaborative environment and what their experiences are. Okay. All right, now that you've watched those, here are a few things you need to know to be ready for the virtual roundtable. First thing is that you need to be there right on time or early if possible, because we want to honor everyone's time and start into the experience right away. Because once we get going, there's such a flow of creative interactions and ideas that it's important that we actually head right into the breakout rooms about 5 minutes in, so we don't really waste a lot of time. So to prevent interruptions, we won't be letting anyone in late. And that's a strict rule, a strict boundary we're going to stick by.
Exactly. And second thing, is that you need to be camera ready. This is not a sit behind a blank screen experience. There are no spectators. Have pen and paper ready. You have to have your camera on in order to really participate with your partners, in order to build those relationships and those collaborations. Think of this like the blending of a super powerful mastermind with the time and the efficiency of a speed dating service. So you can expect efficient use of your time and a variety of interactions with like-minded entrepreneurs in a no-pressure environment for a powerful bonding experience. So, for example, let's say you had individual meetings with, let's say, 20 people at 30 minutes each. Well, that would take you 10 hours. But instead, if you met those 20 people in 1 2-hour day, you're going to have a relationship and a bond with everyone in the virtual roundtable. So this is such a smart, efficient use of your time when you come to these events.
Absolutely. And the most important rule is that everything we do here is in a safe place.
Absolutely.
You can show up as your authentic self and know that you have a space where you can get real help. This also sets the tone so that you get amazing value from each event. You're going to leave with solid connections, absolutely. Now, let's face it, being an entrepreneur can sometimes be so isolating. Well, it's time for us to change that, right? And when you have a community like this, you're going to want to come back and interact with familiar and new members on a regular basis. So remember that imagining that we had you do a little earlier today in the video? Well, we are going to facilitate that kind of experience for those who show up. All right. Once again, thanks for being here and taking action. As we all know, that's the only way to get things done. Now, let's connect, get empowered, and create an impact. If you have any questions, you can DM either us or myself on Facebook, and we look forward to seeing you in our next virtual roundtable.
We'll see you
Thanks.
there. Thanks. Bye-bye.